An investigation into hostile work environments being conducted by the government because of the actions that the league itself and some of the players have had towards Caitlin Clark.
There is a senator, and I forget his name, who sent a letter to the WNBA requesting an answer as to why Caitlin Clark seems to be receiving unfair treatment from the referees.
The WNBA and Caitlin Clark's civil rights. If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so.
Trump could get involved over the treatment of Caitlin Clark on the court.
This can go somewhere that the WNBA cannot afford for it.
The WNBA has routinely violated Caitlin Clark's civil rights, and a federal probe might put an end to the league as we know it. The most explosive bombshell in the entire sports world was just dropped by a former White House staffer who demanded a congressional investigation into how the WNBA has permitted its biggest star to be singled out, attacked, and subjected to discrimination, while officials willfully ignore the mayhem occurring directly in front of them.
The Wall Street Journal wrote an article earlier this week kind of explaining Caitlin Clark's civil rights being broken. Now, I'm seeing this, right, as if the Wall Street Journal might have been tipped off, because now Indiana Senator Jim Brown and none other than ESPN sports anchor himself, Stephen A. Smith, has spoken about the WNBA should be under investigation.
Why this is taking on a civil rights angle, a hostile work environment angle, people forget about Candace Wiggins. She got bullied out of the league because she was straight. You have a racial component and you have a sexual preference component to all of this. And I think, by and large, a lot of these women don't like the fact that she's white and straight. You think that's not a bit of a civil rights issue? Of course it is.
We are no longer discussing some arbitrary basketball drama. We're discussing possible federal infractions, conspiracy theories about gambling and game fixing, and government representatives who are sick of seeing the most well-known female athlete in America get physically assaulted on national TV, while dishonest referees act as though nothing is wrong. The WNBA has already been asked to provide responses by U.S. Congressman Jim Banks over Caitlin Clark's targeting. A comprehensive federal inquiry that could uncover gambling plots, referee corruption, and institutionalized prejudice that reaches the highest levels of this failing organization is now under increasing pressure. Thus,
So this came out last night. Representative, now Senator Jim Banks from Indiana, wrote a letter to the WNBA asking for answers about what the league is doing to protect Caitlin Clark after the Kennedy Carter cheap shot over a year later, and many more cheap shots with no action. Congress must act protect.
if you believe the WNBA is going to have the most significant controversy in professional sports, if you're interested in sports history and want to see Caitlin Clark receive the protection she is due, hit the like button and expose the WNBA in the comments section. This story has the potential to completely ruin everything the WNBA has worked so hard to create over the last 27 years. All you need to know about how seriously the WNBA has failed to safeguard people is that government representatives are now demanding civil rights investigations on a professional sports league, their most valuable asset. This isn't just about missed foul calls or inconsistent officiating anymore. This is about a pattern of systematic targeting and discrimination that has been allowed to continue for an entire season while league officials sit in their offices counting the money that Caitlin Clark is generating for them.
Are referees gambling? I want answers to that. Are the players gambling? I want answers to that. In a professional league where the players get paid less than all the other professional leagues, a professional league where the referees get paid less than all the other professional leagues, this is where the money is, folks. Nobody's been paying attention to the WNBA for the last 20 plus years. If they want to gamble underneath the table, this is the league to do it at. If they want to fix games underneath the table, hit some prop bets underneath the table, this is the league where they're going to do it at. WNBA needs to investigate that first and foremost.
There's millions of dollars at stake here and changing hands. You've got gambling and the one thing we're not talking about, the millions upon millions of dollars that's been spent on Caitlin Clark by people that have traveled to try to see her play. By the WNBA, they have advertised her being in these games, this, that, and the other. They've moved arenas and all this. And then Caitlin Clark can't play. She's not able to get on the court because she's had the crap kicked out of her. That's a problem. It's a business problem.
She's box office. And you do have a lot of people that have come across, not everybody, but have come across as resenting it for that, because you have a lot of ladies in the WNBA who rightfully believe they did so much to help build this league that they resent the fact that people want to act like they don't matter nearly as much as she does. What they're forgetting, however, is that audience determines that. Where the audience interest lies, who they're interested in watching, who they're interested in seeing matters.
This stunning demand for federal intervention from a former White House worker is not the work of a haphazard conspiracy theorist seeking attention. This person is aware of how government investigations operate and thinks there is sufficient proof of civil rights abuses to support congressional supervision of a professional sports organization. Take a time to consider how crazy that is. America's professional sports leagues have great autonomy and are rarely subject to government interference unless there are flagrant accusations of wrongdoing or persistent infractions of federal law. This thing has gotten so out of hand that we are even talking about a civil rights investigation into the WNBA's handling of Caitlin Clark.
A senator has already looked into it. You have members of the administration who have thought about it, from what I'm being told, and based on Trump's history with the NFL and him being an obvious sports fan, goes to events and stuff like that, he pays attention to this kind of stuff, and this is the kind of stuff that can feed that base. So I'm saying to the WNBA, I'm just warning them, watch it, because if he gets involved and that base gets involved, it could be a problem.
I mean, we never seen anything like this. We in all the sports, we have never seen anything like this. Now, if this is true, that it is a secret attack, a secret agenda to attack Caitlin Clark, to pretty much not call her fouls, if the UConn Blue thing is happening for real, this is bad. I mean, this is really, really bad for the league. This is bad for the game of basketball. And this is bad for us being American citizens, because we supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. This ain't freedom, what Caitlin Clark is enduring right now. Now, we all proud to be Americans, right? But this ain't the American thing.
When government representatives begin discussing human rights abuses in professional sports, the league has lost all control over the conversation and has fallen short of its most fundamental duty to shield its players from institutionalized prejudice and targeting. Because of her color, prominence, and financial influence on the league, Caitlin Clark has experienced a pattern of targeting over her WNBA career that goes well beyond typical competitive basketball and touches on issues that could rightfully be classified as systematic harassment. Innumerable instances of Clark being physically targeted, flagrantly fouled, poked, and body-checked have been recorded by referees, who either completely ignore the contact or assign her a technical foul for having the gall to respond to being roughed up.
Kennedy Carter, the one that started it all. Kennedy Carter's slam into the side of Caitlin Clark while you have the ball over here being waited to be inbounds. She called her a and slammed into the side of her. How about Diamond DeShields? Watch this. Boom! That's not a basketball play. That's not a basketball play. Marina Mabry earlier this year. Right there. There is no basketball being played.
Yeah, it looked like Caitlin got hit.
There is no basketball being played there. I'm sorry. That's bleeping assault. That's what that is. All right. By the way, Tina Charles puts a fist right there, right into Caitlin's back. That got lost in all this.
This is not a case of officials becoming incompetent at random. In order to ensure that the league's top star is punished if she dares to defend herself or voice her displeasure with a clear targeting, opposing players are being allowed to threaten and harm her. The WNBA's treatment of Caitlin Clark seems to be directly tied to her race, her appeal to particular fan demographics, and the financial success she has brought to a league that was having financial difficulties prior to her arrival, making the civil rights angle even more compelling. There might be deeper incentives than just competitive basketball, given the methodical nature of the targeting. Federal civil rights laws are intended to combat precisely that type of prejudice.
Her teammate, Sophie Cunningham, has said it's been excessive. Rebecca Lobo, our analyst here at ESPN, says every play against is a foul. Dick Vitale, the great Dick Vitale, accused players of being jealous. Gino Auriemma, national champion coach, the Hall of Famer, one of the all-time
Not
greats
her coach.
at UConn, not her coach. But this man said he has seen her receive treatment that Jordan didn't even receive.
Sophie Cunningham, by the way, made some comments about this too. And she talked about this right here, that when she was in Phoenix in the locker room, they talked about the treatment of Caitlin Clark and how they were going to, be tough on her. And now being on her team and seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Actually, it's just too much. It's too much. I'm over it.
Is it incompetence from the officials or is it purposeful incompetence? Because there's cheddar on the line. Hey, you swallow that whistle, I got a G for you. Hey, you swallow that whistle, I got X for you. I know you only get paid X amount of dollars. I know you want to get paid more.
Congressman Jim Banks has already demonstrated that government officials are aware of this issue and are prepared to use their oversight authority to demand answers from the WNBA regarding their treatment of Caitlin Clark when a professional sports league permits the systematic targeting of an individual based on their race or the demographics of their fan base, which goes beyond sports competition into possible civil rights violations that call for government investigation. If a league doesn't act quickly to solve the systemic issues, federal intervention is becoming more possible as this issue has escalated to the highest levels of government. It